Thanks for joining us here in Snellville, Georgia, as we bring you live action from the camp game here at the HoopKidz Elite Showcase. Marcus Burnett got the pleasure of being joined by head coach Kim Rivers here in his home digs at the Shiloh High School Gymnasium, as we are just weeks away from the season starting here in Georgia. Coach, I know everybody's in football mode here this time of year, but we know the hoop season is right around the corner. Appreciate you joining us here on site.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So we'll keep you acclimated with some of the players that are here in this contest as it goes on. That one, number 26, gets called for the violation there. That is, let's see that young man's name. That's Jeremiah Pruitt. So Team White will have it on their side. Like these types of settings, Coach, because, at the end of the day, when getting better is what you're trying to focus on, intimate settings like this where you're able to really get after it, compete against guys, but also have skills and drill sessions that allow you to work on your game. Talk about the value of that from a head coach perspective.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely a great venue to have a small group, whereas you can work individually and in group settings, and you get to really break down some of their weaknesses and improve their game so much more when you have a small setting like this, as opposed to having 50 to 60 kids in a setting. So I'm really impressed with what they got going on today. Got some real good talent as well.
Some of the guys here, as that one rattles down and falls for number 20. That is Jason Harris that gets that bucket.
Oh, that was a nice move right there.
Coming right back at him. Might take me a second to get that jersey number. That is 26, the aforementioned Jeremiah Pruitt. So had a violation that didn't go his way a couple possessions ago, came right back and got those 2 points. But you mentioned some of the talent that's here. One player, Elias, I believe his last name is King, correct?
Yes, sir.
Player we've been able to cover on SUVtv a few times during the travel season. Definitely represented the Generals well. When you look at King, talk about the upside that you see as a head coach.
Well, Elias is a very, very talented player, and sky's the limit, to tell you the truth. However hard Elias wants to work and just getting stronger at 6'7" and having a real slim frame right now, he's got to grow into his body for one. But overall, man, this kid has all the tools. I mean, we went this summer, and he might have made 29 out of 30 free throws, which is rare for kids his age, and his skill set is very uncanny. He's got to get stronger, but, he's in the weight room, he's on the track, he's doing everything we're asking, and we're really excited about him for this year.
You see why you have those reasons for optimism. Wheeling, dealing inside, scoring the and one there, number 26, Jeremiah Pruitt, as he will head to the free throw line. And also, that last trip to the free throw line for the team in the white shirts, that was Kevin Page. He's number 32. Thought about setting the screen there. Instead, he'll post up. He's a Miller Grove Wolverine. So a player that's looking to shoulder more of the load. He's been able to learn under a talented lineup of players there at Miller Grove. Now he'll have a lot more responsibility with some of those players graduating on, such as the Altery Gilberts, the Aaron Augustins, both players at the Division I level at UConn, and Stephen F. Austin, respectively. Coach, the list goes on of talented high school programs, but also coaches. When you look at this Atlanta area, man, talk about the sharpening iron aspect when you look at some of the teams that you go against on a regular basis without even having to leave Gwinnett County.
Oh, no doubt, man. I was coaching in Maryland for 14 years, and I had some great rivalries, but almost every night you have to prepare like it's a rivalry game here in Gwinnett, let alone the Norcross, Wheelers, and Pebblebrooks that are in our region. We play with the big dogs, so it's no nights off.
No play taking off there. You got that nice bucket there by, I have to confirm his number. I want to make sure I get that right. That's number 28 there, and that is David Miller. But yeah, Coach, one thing that I've noticed, you mentioned the Wheelers and the Pebblebrooks and, a lot of talented programs throughout the greater Atlanta area. When I look at Gwinnett County, the Norcrosses, the Collins Hills, yourself here at Shiloh, even Brookwood there with Coach Bowles. I'm always impressed by not only the on-court talent, but also the coaching talent. When I look at the group of guys that are roaming the sidelines, yourself, I mentioned Dan Bowles, Eddie Martin, not at Norcross now, but Jesse McMillan, a great guy over there. And the list goes on. Brandon Mayweather at Central Gwinnett. Talk about those guys, man, and just how beyond the talent on the floor, how you're always kept sharp by the guys that are roaming the sidelines.
Oh, yeah, this is a great basketball fraternity here at Gwinnett County Basketball. I think we've got the best basketball in the state, not knocking anyone else, but, just the scouting that these guys do against your opponents and, game preparation and all of the knowledge of the years of a knowledge of coaching experience in this county is probably bar none. And, I'm excited to be a coach here in Gwinnett, and I look forward to the matchups. Even though we're changing regions, we've added Rockdale and Newton County to our region this year, along with South Gwinnett, Archer, and Grayson. So it's going to be exciting. But we'll have a great rivalry. We had a great rivalry with Berkmar. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Coach Phillips is an outstanding coach as well. And, those guys help make me a better coach because I have to prepare to my best to go up against those guys.
Yeah, that's a region alignment, definitely bringing some big dogs in terms of region foes. Rockdale County, former high school home of Kevin Ware.
No doubt.
Who's now at a Georgia State program that is, in the words of Outkast, feeling good, feeling great when you look at some of what they've been able to do in state, not just in terms of sign offers or recruits, but just the buzz that I think is being generated around the program right now.
Oh, yeah. And they got my man, Coach White. Don't forget about Coach White.
Oh, yeah, can't forget about him. And when you saw that hire, obviously each coach knows the rationale that goes into it. But when you saw that hire, anybody that knows Coach White or hasn't been under a rock the past few years knew that would have an impact on local kids and how they perceive the program.
No question. I have the utmost respect for Coach White, and I would love for a couple of my Shiloh kids to be a part of that Georgia State program.
And then head coach Ron Hunter there does a great job. I'm an Indiana guy. I've been in Atlanta for 8 years, but Indiana born and raised. And David Dickerson and I, the camp director, we always joke about how if you look at good things going on in hoop, whether it's on the court, might be the business side, might be the coaching side, 9 times out of 10 there's a guy from Indiana that's somewhere around that scenario. Hunter definitely making sure that claim is true there at Georgia State as his staff continues to stockpile.
Oh, yeah. Hunter's a great coach, man. I've stole a lot of good things from his camps and clinics over the last couple of years. I've had an opportunity to chop it up with him and just pick his brain on some things. And he's a phenomenal coach.
Number 2, Brandon Barron. He's a 10th grader. Like the wiggle I've seen in his game just over being here the past hour or so. He's done a good job of getting there in the middle of the lane and wreaking havoc. This time he has to go to the free throw line to get the points. Mission accomplished as Kevin Page, number 32, checks back in for Miller Grove.
Love to see guards that can get into the paint. That's the key, especially in high school basketball.
Yeah. Speaking of guards that can get into the paint, the transfer in, Brian Coffey. One of the things that I really like about his game is they say the mid-range is a lost art. That's an aspect of Brian's game, been able to see since early on in his playing days. I think he's going to definitely fit your paradigm in terms of guards mixing it up inside, Coach.
Oh, man, Brian is a blessing. He's just such a great kid on and off the court, but he's gotten so much better. I've known Brian since he was a 6th grader, and to have him here with the Shiloh Generals this year, to bring the veteran leadership that we lost in Josh Okogie and some of our other veterans is a blessing because those guys are hard to replace, but having great leadership with Brian and his mid-range and all-around game is going to be great for us this year. I'm looking forward to it.
Speaking of Okogie, man, if he's listening, I'm sure he's probably looking at you sideways. A lot of Georgia State talk, not enough talk about the Rambling Wreck over there at Tech.
No doubt.
But I'm just joking there. But Okogie, a player, what I loved about his game is his effect on both ends of the floor there. Definitely going to be a good resource there for the Yellow Jackets.
Oh, yeah. He's got a chance to make some big noise in the ACC as a freshman. I'm looking forward to seeing him play this year and going out to support him every night I can when I'm not on the court myself.
There, Barron, he's fouled as he's trying to split the defense. Haven't been able to find anybody to really stay in front of him up to this point. So he's fouled there by Pruitt. It'll be thrown in there by number 7. It's Manny Duani. Scores 23-16 in favor of the white jerseys, or white T-shirts, I should say. Foul here is going to send, should be a shooting foul there. That will send number 7. That's Duani. That'll send him to the line. Coach, I wax nostalgic a little bit, some of the matchups that have taken place in this gym. Been a lot of good players to come through. Shiloh can remember back in the Robert Carter days, you know, those types of squads, the Nate Masons, the, you know, and the list goes on of talented players. Who are some of the teams, but also the players that stand out when you look at the talent you've been able to coach here?
Man, we've had a lot of talent to come through here from my first year, Jordan Gaither. We've had Robert Carter, of course, and Nate Mason. We've had a bunch of kids that Stedman Lemon, you know, he was the CIAA Player of the Year last year. You know, we've had some really tough. Kedar Davis, who's at Tennessee Tech. You know, we put a plethora of kids in college, and that's what it's all about, you know. At the end of the day, they play so they can have an opportunity to get to the next level. Last year, we also had Dejon Waters, and he's at Shorter, and he'll be playing November 5th in an exhibition game against Georgia Tech. So I don't know who I'm going to cheer for. Is it going to be Shorter or Georgia Tech?
I like Waters, man. Waters was a great glue guy.
No doubt.
He was that way throughout the season, but I remember you guys' championship at the Farm Bureau Insurance Classic out there at Dorman for those few days, where I was really able to see his impact up close and personal over the course of those games, man. He does so many of the little things to win games.
He's definitely irreplaceable, and we'll be going back out to that Farmers Tournament, as a matter of fact. We loved it out there, great hospitality. Shout out to that coach and their staff.
SUVtv will be out there as well. Just make sure you grab dinner before 11 p.m. It's hard to find a place other than that breakfast nook right across from the host hotel once about 11 p.m. hits. So we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we'll speak with Rodney Hurd here at the HoopKidz Elite Showcase.
Hey, great talking to you, Coach.
Likewise,
all right,
Coach.
Now.
and welcome back here to the HoopKidz Elite Showcase live from Snellville, Georgia, Shiloh High School to be exact. Things keep getting better here in the game as we've got another batch of substitutions. Better here in the broadcast booth as well, as I've got one guest coming out, another great one joining us, Mr. Rodney Hurd, former NBA scout and college coach. Coach Hurd, appreciate you taking time from helping these players get better to join us up top.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. Dave Dixon does a great job with this event.
You look at the grassroots space. One of the things I love the most is that in settings like these, players are really able to have a nice balance of skill development, but also drills on top of applying some of what they've learned and showing what they can do. Talk about the mix and the delicate balance that they're able to strike at events like this, Coach.
Well, actually, it's very good what Dave does. We actually did the kids' height and the wingspan. We did the vertical jump. We did a couple of skill tests with them in the shuttle run and then the box slides that they do in the NBA Combine, so they can know their scores and look at what other pros and other college guys are getting, so they know what to improve upon. And then we went through stations, and various stations. I had dribble moves. We did a shooting station. We did a footwork station. Did a blockout station. So it's a great opportunity for these kids to get better and to have the opportunity now to play in the game and show some of the things that they've learned.
As this game is in progress, number 33 with the ball right now. Gets it over to 27, floats it up, too strong on the shot. Offensive rebound, no good. Persistence not paying off just yet, but it looks like they'll get another crack at it there on the offensive rebound.
Yeah, the great team has to do a better job of blocking out. That's 4 offensive rebounds in a row. 5.
Yeah.
and
they make you pay.
Exactly.
How ironic, Coach. How many times do you see that in the courts, whether it's a camp game or a regular game? How many times do you see them make you pay after those offensive boards?
Oh, it's a killer. It's a killer. It's almost like that's the way God has it drawn up, that if you give up offensive rebound, you're going to pay for it.
That's on the first page of Basketball Karma.
Yeah.
That last bucket scored by number 29, Lamont Smith. He's an 11th grader. Smith, a talented player.
He's very talented. Has a nice body, can get to the basket and score, can create for others, does a good job of running the pick and roll, and also can finish at the basket against bigger players. Shoots a 3 there.
He misses. Elias King can't get the mid-range shot to go, but that's definitely another player to keep an eye on. King's size is something that jumps off the page as soon as he, you see him on site. But then his ability to score the ball is the second note.
Yeah, they nicknamed him Penny. I worked with him in a couple of stations. He said, I asked him what his name was. He said Penny, and I took a good look at him. I said, okay, I see where you got that one from.
Yeah.
He's very talented and versatile, long, athletic, runs the floor well, has a variety of skills, can pass. He has a chance to be a really good player.
Yeah, that's a good one there, Coach. He does kind of put you in that Penny Hardaway mind frame. I'm surprised I didn't catch that. Penny was one of my favorite players, man. I feel like that injury robbed us all of seeing a great player.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Weight room move on the inside there by number 33, finishing through the contact. Still don't see that number 33 just yet. I might be looking right past it. Want to make sure I give him credit. So we might have to get that for you all at halftime. Yeah, but didn't mean to cut you off, Coach. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get that name shortly.
Good move.
Finishing the layup under the rest. That's number 5. That's William Wynn.
Yeah, did a nice job of finishing in traffic.
He can't get the mid-range to go. Pass ahead. Now here's Robert Nord, number 27. Access denied inside, but they're going to say King got a little bit of the hand there as well.
Nord has a chance to be a good player. He's really worked on his game. He's going to the 8th grade. He's grown some over the last 2 years, increased his range on his jump shot, worked really hard in the stations, worked really, really hard.
Talk about the value, Coach, of pushing yourself when you're going into an 8th grade, you're in middle school, but you still want to continue to get better. Talk about pushing yourself and being able to play against guys that are at a higher level.
Well, he has to. They have to push themselves, and he has a chance to play against older kids. And as you know, you were a player, and I was a player, and playing against older kids. There he is shooting the three there, missed it. But you know, you just feel like it's an honor to play against older and better players and people that are ranked and have college recruited them. So you know, you almost feel as though you're playing with the upper echelon, and that you are, you know, you're almost afraid. I know when I was playing it with the older guys, with Isaiah Thomas and those guys, that you're almost afraid to make a mistake because you don't want to let them down. It's really a great opportunity for these younger players to play, and the way Dave has mixed these kids is really amazing.
It's a great point, Coach. And you know, aside from the skills and just the ability to put the ball in the hole, you know, all of the greats at whatever level have had that chip in them to where they always want to play against the best. They always want to compete, whether it's a matter of cutting their teeth and getting better or a matter of showing what they can bring to the table. You always like to see people seeking out those types of games and that type of competitive fire. I like you get to a guy like a Kevin Durant or the numerous amount of pros that you'll see going to a Rucker Park or some of the playgrounds. They're playing at the highest level and getting paid a lot of money to do it, but it's that hunt, it's that fight, that intensity that's there.
Exactly. The urge to still play, the love of the game. You know, just not making money, but want to play against the best guys. And sometimes people will say, you know, the best players didn't make it to the NBA. A lot of great ones have, but there's a lot of good players that, unfortunately, for different circumstances, didn't have the same opportunity as others. And then some guys bloom late. You know, some guys get better later, you know, and after college, and just unfortunately, when they were in college, they weren't as good as they are now.
They say timing is everything. That cliche can definitely hold true.
Exactly.
Number 33 gets another bucket. Now here's King.
Oh, good move. Oh, Mr. Bunny.
Wouldn't stay down for him, and that's a home rim. Home rim's not being too kind to him, man. They got to get those correct before the season starts.
Exactly. They had a good season last year also. Look up.
Back and forth we go as William Wynn comes up with it.
That 33 again?
Yeah, that's him. First time he's missed in a few opportunities, but again, another offensive rebound. Luckily for Team Gray, they don't take advantage of it. King's double.
Oh. That's when King has to understand that that's a younger player. He's an 8th grader also, and that not that he, you know, just doesn't understand he should dive to the basket. You know, you have to give him a direct pass because you're a junior or a sophomore, I'm sorry, and he's an 8th grader. You know, 2 years makes a big difference. A lot of games under your belt, you know, a lot of AAU games, a lot of high school, 2 high school seasons.
They love to say know your personnel. You know, it's all about knowing who can do certain things. You know, certain big men, they might be better back to the basket than they are catching the ball in traffic and finishing. So
exactly,
definitely understand there. So, Coach, we appreciate you joining us here again. You know, basketball season right around the corner. I know we all probably have a couple fantasy football teams out there, but I'm ready for hoop season to start, Coach.
Well, thank you for having me.
Likewise.
All right, God bless you. Have a good day.
You too, Coach. Still got to get number 33's name for you. He's making plays there on the floor to some of the talent here at HoopKidz Elite. Got more talent, very good resource joining me here in the broadcast booth as Ocasio Adrian out of the Runner Report is joining me. I've seen you at a ton of events, man. I think this is my first time actually getting your full name. Just a prime example how the basketball community can be. You can see a guy for years covering games and just know him as coach. You just know him as a colleague. But again, nice to run into you, man. Your thoughts on the HoopKidz Elite event here today?
Well, I'm glad you guys have me here. It's a great event. Actually, it's Adrian Ocazier, and I am with the Runner Report. I came out here to check out this event. There's a lot of good players out here. Just looking out, we've got some young talent. Number 27, Robert Nord, who just caught the ball in the corner. He's been at almost every event nationwide this year, and his trainer was actually here to see him. So Robert Nord, real good prospect, plays with the Southern Stampede.
Anybody else that caught your eye? Obviously, Nord just one of the talented players here. Any other standouts for you on your coverage?
Well, of course, we got Elias King, who actually just took that shot and sank it. He's popping up all over the radar right now with a 6'10" wingspan, some physical tools that will definitely give him an advantage. I just found out he wore a size 15, so he's probably got a couple more inches to go. Real swift kid. Actually, this is his home gym, so he's probably real comfortable.
Coach Tim Rivers on, and I know he's glad to have him here on site. And when you look at this event, not only have they been able to showcase what they can currently do, but they've also had a chance to get better with a very good training and coaching staff here as well. You see a ton of events. Talk about that balance aside from just the competition on court.
Well, yeah, the skills and drills have been a staple in mostly all elite combines. The key is, are the coaches going to push them to go 100% and really help them understand that the reps into your board are what count. They've got to put those reps in. It may seem like a space filler, but it's the time where the coaches get the biggest opinion on your work ethic. So a lot of kids come in and walk through these drills hoping to just get in front of the games, but these coaches make their decisions right away in a blink based on how hard they go in the drills. So here today we've got some pro staff. We've got Bryce Williams, actually, who's one of the player development guys at Westlake. I think you're going to be talking to him next. But you got key guys here that have been around the game at the grassroots level and at the professional level for a while.
Hey, well, Adrian, I know you got to run. We appreciate you stopping in and joining us here on site, man.
Thank you.
Should be ready to resume play in a few minutes. We've got another great guest, another great contributor here to the HoopKidz Elite Camp. Coach Mario Stowers here, former JUCO coach, but you can also find him in gyms helping develop the games of professionals as well as some of the high school players that you see here on the court alike. Coach, I was just talking with Adrian Ocazier about skill development, the skills and drill side of things on top of the camp game aspect we're showing now. With you being somebody that deals with that element on a first-hand basis daily, talk about the importance of that when it comes to players maximizing their potential.
Oh, well, the most important thing is the fundamentals of the game. I think kids today, they get fascinated with the NBA game, and they can do all these different types of moves, but they can't necessarily make a fundamental bounce pass or fundamentally feed the post. I believe once you have the fundamentals, then you put those counters and those other moves on top of that, and that's what makes you a great player. That's what I do. I teach the basics first, and then we gradually develop to other things, and that's the kids I've been dealing with. That's why they went to top-level Division I programs and also been playing professionally, because they've gotten better over time doing the right things instead of focusing on making spectacular plays.
And what do you see as some of the right things? Obviously, there's a core set of fundamentals. You probably won't be able to name everything, but what are some of the areas that you feel like are lacking that you really try to focus on here in the past few years?
Well, the first thing is passing. Most right-handed kids in high school can't pass with their left hand. I mean, they're passing across their body with their right hand. Most high school kids can't feed the post. You have to step out wide and step long to feed the post. And if you can't feed the post, it messes up the whole offense. So you're running your offense to gain an advantage. And then once you gain the advantage, if you can't make the fundamental play to maintain the advantage, you wasted your time. So those type of things, man. Passing, ball handling, being able to play under control once you drive, being able to stop and play off 2 feet. Most kids just jump off 1 feet without having an advantage. I believe if you have an advantage, you go off 1 foot. If you don't have an advantage, you land on 2 feet and just make the proper read, whether it's a kick out, whether it's a pump fake finish, whether it's a straight up finish, but always being under control.
Now, Coach, who are some of the players at the various levels that you've had the pleasure of training and working with directly?
I trained Anthony Fisher. He played at Tennessee Tech, but he's been playing in Spain the last few years. I trained Amadi McKenzie. He's been playing in the France A League the last 7 years. And I don't know if anybody knows, once you go overseas, man, they pay for your car. They basically give you like a chef. They give you a house, and you're only over there for 6 months. So you're making 6 figures for 6 months, and you don't got to pay for anything. So they're living a pretty good life. I trained a kid named Ronald Whitaker, who's at Florida International right now, who's going to start. There's just numerous kids, man, all over the country.
And when obviously kids have different levels. Everybody has the Division I aspirations. You've been able to train players that have played at the Division I level, but talk about maximizing your potential regardless of what that level might be, whether it's Division I or whether it's D2, D3. Talk about some of the different skill sets and talent levels that you train and the importance on finding the best fit for you as a player.
Okay, yeah, so I've also coached Division II, and I played Division I. What people don't realize is that D2 is very talented level. It's a lot of D2 teams that can beat a lot of D1 teams. But yeah, just playing at the right, it's all about work ethic. You know, most kids today, they really don't want to put in the work like that. It's a few high school kids that I know that get up in the morning every day and they work out at 6. They go to class, they get out of class, they get another workout in. You know, you're getting those 2 workouts in a day will guarantee you to play D1. You don't have to be the most talented kid to play D1. You just have to have a basketball IQ. You understand what I'm saying? And NAIA is a very talented league because you get a lot of JUCO kids that didn't necessarily qualify. So what guys got to understand is not a big separation from D1, D2, NAIA, and JUCO. The biggest separation is from an academic standpoint. It's not from a basketball standpoint. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's pretty much my take on it.
Now, Coach, in your drills today, are any players that stuck out specifically to you in terms of some of the little things that they do well or just overall talent? Who are some of the guys that were definitely notables to you here at this camp?
Number 33, who's on the court right now for the white team, he's pretty good, man. He's pretty solid. He's very talented, but he also lets the game come to him. Jeremiah Pruitt, who played in the game before this one, a big guard, a 6'5", can handle it, he's very, very skilled. You can tell he does skill work. Who else? And number 22, who's on the court right now. He's long, he's talented. There's some things he needs to work on. You know, understand what I'm saying, like strength and being explosive on his first dribble. But as far as being skilled and tall, being able to handle, look at that, good pass, good right-handed fundamental pass right there. So, yeah, those 3 guys stood out the most to me.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining us here on site at the HoopKidz Elite. Until next time, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. All right.
Took a quick step away, but welcome back to the HoopKidz Elite Camp here in Snellville, Georgia. Shiloh High School, they're in trouble now. They got two Hoosiers on the mic. Marcus Burnett joined by Michael Maynard. Mike, man, always good to have you back here in the Atlanta area. I know Nashville and Middle Tennessee have the pleasure of having such a good basketball resource like yourself there now, but how's it feel to be back here in the ATL, again, helping players get better?
Well, I really never left. I went to Nashville to take a job at Tennessee State University, but I love getting back here, dealing with the young folks here in Atlanta. I love the basketball culture here, and the things that people like you are doing with SUVtv really helps to expand the basketball brand of in Georgia, and it's a great brand of basketball.
That's part of what I love about the location of both Atlanta and Middle Tennessee. Neither one is too far from the other. We cover a wide range of events there in that middle area. A lot of good basketball.
Yes, sir.
In that area, man. Who are some of the players that have stood out to you most here at HoopKidz Elite?
Well, a guy that just finished the basket, Lamont Smith, he's over at Duluth High School. Really good, strong point guard over there. I believe he's in his junior year. Elias King is another kid who's a younger kid, but he's got great size, good ball skills, and he's very unselfish, sees the floor really well, and that's fun to watch in the younger generation of players.
Agreed. Said some people liking him or giving that alias a penny.
Yes, I heard that, and he smiled when I said that, so apparently he's adopted that himself, which is not a bad player to pattern your game after.
That's good stuff. I wanted to be like Penny when I was little, but I didn't have that frame, nor a size 15 shoe, or the game that King is bringing to the table. Definitely going to be a fun player to keep an eye on here over the next few years.
I'm sorry?
You know, talk about the value, Mike, of, you know, I love being able to see these camp games, see what players can do, but also see what they're working on. But how valuable have some of the skills and drill sessions that you guys did earlier today, how great has that been in terms of complementing what they do in the camp game?
Well, what I try to emphasize when I'm doing skill and drill, since we don't have a great amount of time with them, I try to teach urgency and doing things the right way. So I do more of a technique-based training, and so that they understand what the fundamentals are, why you do what you do, and then there should be a sense of urgency anytime you step on the floor, because it's a blessing to be able to step on the floor like this or any other camp.
Great point. They say you can't teach speed, can't teach height. I think that sense of urgency is a tough thing. I mean, you can suggest it,
right,
or try to verbally pull it out, but it's either there or it's not.
If you plan on playing it at a higher level, especially the college level, the college coaches want that sense of urgency every time you step on their floor, and so they know that you're there to help them win games, and that should be the bottom line when you once you start playing at any type of organized basketball.
Now, one last question, man, before you leave us. Are there any players where you see similarities between them and some of the other, players you've been able to coach and train?
Absolutely. There's a kid, McLeod, I believe Shamari McLeod, and he has a lot of the same physical gifts as Al-Farouq Aminu, who played for me, who's in the NBA now. He's long, he's athletic, he plays hard, and he has a lot of heart out there. And I really like his attention to detail, and he's a team guy. He talks to his teammates, so I really enjoy that. Most of the guys here are so young. I really don't like to compare them to the older guys because I want them to find their own identity. And then again, the good thing about having SUVtv here is that a lot of people outside of this gym will be able to see some of these guys, and then they can really judge for themselves and find players that they may be able to follow going forward. And there's some good talent in this gym, sir.
Hey, I like that, man. Sometimes comparisons can be valuable in terms of the common thread and giving a player credit for potential that you see.
Yes, sir.
But overall, I think we can be too comparison happy when you look at social media.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
sports coverage these days.
Everybody's the next Michael Jordan. That's what killed a lot of careers.
Well, Mike, man, we appreciate you being on, and thanks again, Chief.
Thanks. Thank you.
Welcome back to Georgia HoopKidz Elite. Got another break in the action. I got the pleasure of speaking with Bryce Williams, representing Georgia Exclusive. A lot of good talent in the Atlanta area. Really, I think when you look at the amount of the pipeline of players that's here, but also the attention that is drawn from college coaches around the country, I say it's safe to say to call Atlanta a hotbed of basketball talent. Would you agree, Coach?
Yes, sir, I would. A lot of kids come from Atlanta, and a lot of scouts and coaches they fill the stands every year. I'm at Westlake. I'm an assistant at Westlake High School, and already this week I've seen UCF, UConn, Georgia Southern, Baylor. So they flock to the Atlanta metropolitan area to come get the kids.
Westlake, the reigning state champion, there in it was 6A last year, so I'd imagine they're 7A this year.
Yes.
With some classification changes here in Georgia, but loaded with talent, and that's also the former high school of Cam Newton.
Yes.
For a lot of you people out there that I'm sure are following his exploits as well. But Coach, when you talk about the exclusive program and how you guys are able to make sure player development is maximized, touch on the value of events like these where you can only showcase your game but get better in the process.
It's very important to get to these exposure camps where you have the opportunity to play other kids from other places and sometimes get out of your region and play kids that are maybe tougher than you and sometimes older than you. The exclusive program has been around for about 5 years. We're relatively new in terms of AAU programs, but we built it up from 3rd and 4th graders, and now some of the kids in this camp today are in 8th grade. They've been pretty dominant in the middle school scene in Atlanta, so it's good for them to get a chance to play some of these high school kids as they get ready to make that transition and that jump to high school basketball. So this is very important for them to see the level of physicality and some of the length from some of these guys, and how tough it is, and how much work you have to actually put in to succeed at the next level.
You touched on a key dynamic there. Some of the conversations I've had, people talk a lot about how football, they have more of a youth system to where they get used to running certain offenses or certain game elements, and a lot of times in basketball that element can be missing depending on which program you work with.
Right.
But you're a prime example of the opposite, with you being able to work with these players at the 3rd and 4th grade level and now up to the 8th grade level. So it's safe to say you're a prime example of that happens on the basketball side too.
It's uncommon to see a lot of coaches and teams that practice twice a week and put in sets and go to the weekend prepared to jump on these other teams with different zones and different secondary breaks. That's uncommon, and that's something that has helped us become a successful program over the years, because some of these kids, their IQ has improved every year, and I've tried to test them to teach them something every year to prepare them for that next grade level or something that they might see. As a 4th grade team, we were tiny, and we started off, we pressed 1-3 or a diamond full court back to maybe a 32. As 7th grade, fast forward now, 7th and 8th grade, I threw more at them. I tried to throw a secondary offense in and some different types of cuts and some more zone busters so they would be prepared for, longer defenses and faster kids. So, yeah.
Now, who are some of the players that stood out? I know that you might not be able to give me an exhaustive list because you were able to work with a lot of them, but nutshell summary-wise, who are some of the players that were notables in terms of their games here?
Okay, I can give you some numbers. For starters, I like 33. He's very explosive.
Shamari McLeod, you guys have been seeing him throughout this whole broadcast.
Yeah, he's very explosive. I had him in the shooting station earlier this morning, and his one dribble pull-up is something that I teach my kids and a lot of kids that I coach, that if you can, get that down, I think you can play at the next level. And his one dribble, catch and put down and pull up is perfect. I think he made most of them. He might have missed 1 or 2 jump shots in the whole station out of 10 minutes. Who else was pretty good? Madison Durb's pretty good. 3, he's an 8th grader, up-and-coming kid. He's been on the circuit for a while. He's about 6'1". Attends Bunch Middle School. He's a long kid and athletic. Can hit the open shot and the mid-range jumper. Plays at a high level, and he's not afraid to play against anybody. He competes.
Yep, Elias King. He was number 23 there
Elias
in
King.
the gray. Yep.
Elias King is pretty long as well, plays above the rim, and that's something that I kind of try to preach to my kids as well. Is, you got to play above the rim in this game. When you get to the next level, everything is above the rim. So.
Now, Coach, another question I wanted to ask you in terms of the basketball areas that are represented here. Obviously, HoopKidz Elite is based there in the DMV area. We talked about how Atlanta has continued to grow. And you want to be able to not only represent against those that are in your area, but against some of the other basketball hubs throughout the country. Talk about the value of that, whether it's through travel ball or other events.
The value is amazing. It's really great to see some teams. We've played in the Fab 48. Some of these kids have played in the Fab 48. We've played in the MIT. And maybe next year we'll play in some other, middle school leagues. But the importance is amazing because you see teams like Vegas Elite, how they run these sets and these offenses, and they may not be as athletic, but they find ways to win games. Kids maybe from New York, like the New York Gauchos or somebody like that, their style may be different from my style, whereas, they're running gun. They're playing full speed the whole entire game. They're not going to quit until the game is over. Whereas we may be taller and longer, but they're going to play hard. So it just depends on, the region you come from and your coach and his style. The way that I coach my kids is kind of like an inside-out game. We use our length, and then we settle for shots. We attack always, and we try to press and jump and trap and finish in the open court. So it's important to get that experience early on in your career, because when you go to college and high school and you travel and you're playing on a national schedule, you're used to playing, in those environments with different styles of play.
Coach, as we wrap up here, one last thing. I know you're focused on helping develop and get your players better there at Westlake, but I know you're also keeping an eye on some of the developments around the state. Who do you see as some of the main opposition when it comes to defending that state title this year in a loaded classification?
A loaded class. Wheeler's going to be tough. Pebblebrook with Colin Sexton is going to be tough. A kid that I actually have coached when he was a younger kid in middle school, 6th, 7th grade. I had the pleasure of working with him. Pebblebrook's they're going to be very tough. They've added Elias Harden and Drew Drennan. I think Norcross is stacked as well. So we've got our hands full. We've got to really get down to work and get this thing going. It's not going to be easy, but I think those are some of probably the biggest teams that may challenge us. But we've got a tough schedule that can prepare us for that. We're playing in the Holiday Hoopsgiving. We're playing in the Cancer Research Classic. We've got one in Myrtle Beach, the Beach Ball Classic. So we've got some tournaments that will prepare us to come home and try to defend that championship.
You mentioned Colin Sexton, more of a household name now when it comes to basketball recruiting. Wasn't always so. Talk about the work that he put in and the exponential rise in what he was able to do.
I try to use Colin as an example all the time with some of my younger kids because Colin didn't do anything special but put the work in, the time and the effort, and he just has a love for the game, and I think that overall helped him propel him to where he is now, in addition to his training. But I kind of compare him to like a prize fighter because he looks at the game like 12 rounds and, he's going to go to blow for blow. He's going to blow for blow. And that's something I try to instill in my kids, that this guy is in attack mode all the time, no matter where he's playing. And if you're not going to show up and play like that, you need to stay at home. So I use him as an example, and I often tell my kids to YouTube him and look at his workouts and how he trains because that's the kind of work he does it every day, 6 a.m., 3 or 4 times a week, and look where it's gotten him.
Yeah,
So.
you liking him. I think the boxing is a great analogy. He's got a chin like Rocky and a knockout punch like Drago.
Yep.
Appreciate you joining us, Coach Williams,
Thank
signing off from the Georgia HoopKidz Elite Clinic here at Shiloh High School.
Thank you.